Okay, everybody, what's going on? It's your boy, Coach Vic, certified land investor. Today, I have Sandra, newly certified land investor. Somebody in the group just got her first deal. Well, I don't know if I can call it her first deal, but first deal with me.
Yeah.
So she's going to tell us all about how she did it, what her background is, any tips and tricks that she can pass on to you, any tools of the trade, and
Right.
give a little dirt, spill a little tea on your boy. So I'm excited. I'm excited. So Sandra, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, again, congratulations. So why
Thank
don't you
you.
tell us a little bit about how you got started in land? I know you had
hmm
some experience doing some wholesaling before.
Right.
So yeah, give us a little bit about your background and what kind of like brought you to land.
Yeah. So I've always had like an entrepreneurship like mindset. I've always been interested in that. And I actually remember even purchasing Carlton sheets like years ago. Do you remember that? Carlton
Mm-mm,
sheets? Oh my
mm-mm.
goodness. Yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like it was about obviously real estate and stuff like that, but it was like everything was like it was nothing was online. It was like this this huge file that comes to your house, and you don't know honestly how to decipher it. And I actually was working. I used to work 3 to 11, so when I got home, I would see it because it would be like playing at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So
Mm,
yeah, exactly. Right.
mm.
So I came across that, I ordered it. I just didn't know what to do with it. It was just so complicated. This was, I think this is probably when, like, you had to live in the area to like invest in the area, like it wasn't really like virtual or anything like that. So I tried that and I couldn't figure it out.
Well, how much
And
was that?
oh gosh, I don't remember. I mean, honestly, this was literally like maybe like 8 years ago.
You make it sound like it was ancient history. We had
Well,
internet 8 years ago.
no, when I'm saying 8 years ago, what I'm saying is like you don't see the guy in the daytime.
Oh,
He you don't see him. He's probably like, I don't know. Like Ron LeGrant. He might be older than you might he might be older than Ron LeGrant. He's like the father. He's like a lease option guy, and I think he's probably like 92. So yeah, like probably in his late 80s, 90s. But so Carlton Sheet was probably around like that era over there where he was doing it like in the 90s and stuff like that, like a long time ago.
got
So
it.
there was that. And but I've always been interested in real estate. And I was living in Boston, and I actually started to do like put together like a business plan for my real estate. So I started over there when I moved here to Savannah. Yeah, so I did the whole thing where in terms of doing the LLC. So I started over there. When I came here to Savannah, I finished it. I got my LLC. I finished with my LLC, getting it registered here in Savannah. And I had a website and everything running, but my job, it was so hard to do to really get into real estate the way I wanted to. I was working in a hotel, and I was working in banquets and doing events. So I literally we would be working from 5 a.m. in the morning until like 6, 7 o'clock at night, because it would be like a meeting with breakfast, mid-morning break, lunch, afternoon break, and it would end, and we would have to clean the room and reset it for tomorrow if they're there the whole. So it just took a lot of me. I really couldn't really, and even I just couldn't do it. So COVID came, and I got laid off during COVID.
Mm.
So yeah. Well, the food and beverage industry was the first sacrificial land, right?
Yeah, well, who
So
needs to eat and drink?
yeah, exactly, right. So COVID came, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know what the hell is going to happen, but I know one thing is I have time right now. So let me go back into this. So I joined a real estate group. I came across this guy on YouTube, joined a real estate group, and he was doing wholesaling and lease options. So yeah, so that was 2021. No, 2020 when that happened. So I end up getting my first deal like 9 months later,
Nice. Very nice.
wholesaling. So, and I got a second deal. So like, yeah, so like two deals like in that period. And then I started off last year. The end of last year, I was just like, okay, you know what? Like I got 2 deals. Now I know what I'm doing. Just continue to do it. So when the beginning of this year kicked off, I had pretty much like, I had already gone into the markets I wanted to go into. I had skip traced, done pretty much like went ahead and did everything. So literally like January 5th came, I sent out my first text messages, and I closed 2 deals in January, closed another deal in February, and I just kind of kept going from there. And as I was doing, so this was land, by the way. So this wasn't houses.
So
So
you're
even though
wholesaling land.
exactly. So even though the coach I was working with was only strictly doing houses, I actually stumbled across land. So
How?
even
How'd that work?
so I don't know if I accidentally sent a text message or I pulled a list that I accidentally included land, and I was like, what? I was like, what? Like, what? Like, what's this vacant lot? And I literally was like, parking lots? Like, what? So, and there was another person, in my group, another female, and me and her were like, we would talk outside of the group and stuff like that. We were like one of the, like, maybe like 3 females in that, like, club that was mostly men. So we were talking, we were both interested in lease options, and we were just kind of talking. And she's like, yeah, I came across this land thing too. And we were kind of talking, like, yeah, I know, it's so weird, like parking lots, like what the hell is it gonna do with like cement parking lots, like vacant lots. So, and we just both started just kind of digging into it outside of that group on our own, and she actually ended up getting her first deal. She actually ended up getting her first land deal. And then I got mine, but I didn't know. I wasn't really sure. I thought maybe like I didn't know how to walk it from like when you get it under contract to closing.
Mhm.
So actually my first deal that I got, I JV'd with her. Me and her JV together. So she kind of walked me into the whole thing with closing and stuff like that. And pretty much from there, it was just, I was like, I love this land thing. It's not, you're talking to the people, they're not as emotionally attached to it like they are to a house. It's pretty simple. You don't have to worry about, the two that, like, was it the 2 or 3 T's that people are talking about? Tenants,
Tenants, toilets, and termites.
Toilets, exactly. You don't have to worry about that. So, and then as I started coming more across land, I was like, okay, I'm seeing like pieces of land that are like outside of the city limits. Like, what's going on with that? Like, so I was like, I really want to start, because I felt like no deals left behind. So I'm like, if I'm going to do all of the land thing, I want to do all of it. I just don't want to do wholesaling. I want to do this other thing here. And I'm like, you can put a mobile home on it. You could go camping, like, and I start to think about like with COVID and stuff like that, people really wanted to leave the city and kind of go out in the outskirts and stuff like that and have their own thing and have their own privacy and breathe and do all that stuff. So, and I was also kind of like watching some of the Joe McCall videos because he was also doing lease option, I never like worked with him or anything like that, but I just, he was doing lease options just like my coach was doing lease options. So I came across your video. Yeah. Yeah. You know what it is? I'd actually come across a lot of videos, but I didn't really like, I didn't like in terms of like how, like they were just saying how you kind of had to have a lot of money, and I really like, one of the things that really got me with your videos, like there's no frills, because that's pretty much how I am too. Like, like don't have to beat around the bush, just get to it. And, and I really liked how you were talking about how you can go ahead and close using the buyer's funds, because that's actually one, I try to actually do that in wholesaling, where there was a few title companies that I had developed a relationship with that I was working with. And I asked them, I said, hey, can we go ahead and close first, where, you close with the buyer? And they were like, no, that's illegal. And I was like, I just don't feel like, I feel like this can be done. Yeah. I feel like there's a way that this can be done. So I got rejected a few times. I called a couple of lawyers, they're like, oh no, we don't know what you're talking about. So when I came across your video and you were talking about that, and you were talking about how you can start doing this, you can take it down, which is a little scary at first. I'm not gonna lie, because you don't have the wholesaling kind of safety net, right?
Right.
So yeah, so you have to, take it down on your own, and you can work it based on the budget. You don't have to go in there and like have to have a lot of money and stuff like that. So I was like, this is really cool. So after I came across your video, I actually went ahead and I looked you up on YouTube, and I came across actually all of your videos, and I watched some of it. Just yeah. So, and I was like, great. So and then I was like, okay, you know what? Next deal I'm gonna close in wholesale. I'm gonna take that money, and I'm gonna take your course. So yeah, so that's how I stumbled on you in terms of, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's quite a journey too, because you started from some old school offline method where you couldn't make heads or tails of it. So all of a sudden finding like a wholesaling deal and doing everything somewhat online and on the phone, using technology and tools to kind of get things going, linking up with the homegirl who was also in the same space, but then that kind of takes you away from that and you guys started joining the land. Right. And like this this land thing for the reasons you mentioned. And then because somehow you wind up with me, and then instead of going from wholesaling, you don't necessarily stop wholesaling, but you also like, hey, I can take down some of these deals myself.
Exactly. Because I'm like, this is like, why leave these deals behind? So but yeah, so yeah.
No, that's good. Now, let me ask you this. What, in your opinion, are the pros and cons of land investing versus wholesaling land?
Let's see here. Well, I will say this. Starting out, from a lot of the coaches, they always say how wholesaling is kind of like the safest way, right? Because it's less risky and stuff like that. You're not really putting any money, you're not using any of your funds or anything like that. And you're really just selling the paper, so for me, I really like that. The downside of that is that with wholesaling, because you have such a short period of time, well, sometimes you do, in terms of closing the deal with the seller, a buyer can always kind of back out, if they want to, or they can ghost you, and even the seller can ghost you as well. I've been in situations where I've had it under contract with the seller, and I find a buyer, and the seller has ghosted me, and I have to come out of that. So, it has its pros and cons in terms of that. But I feel like it's like any method, it's like anything. It's got it's got like things that are really upsides and things that are really downsides, and you just have to navigate yourself through that.
Got it. That makes sense. Like I'm obviously biased towards land because I like the options that it gives me, but I mean, you can't go wrong with like not having to use your own money. But the downside is that because it's the barrier of entry is so low, everybody named mama trying to do it, and it just kind of increases the noise. But if you're good enough, you can probably rise above it. I'm sure there's techniques and stuff, but I have money to invest, so I'm like, whatever. I don't really worry about it. So I mean, that money investment might just be a couple $100, but awesome. Okay, so going back to you now, we go through your journey. You find me, okay. We decide, hey, you'll be a good fit to the group. Why don't you tell us about your experience in the group and then how you got to your first deal?
Yeah, in terms of my experience in the group, it's been really positive. That's really awesome about it. Like everybody's really helpful, especially like using Slack. You put a question in there, and people are definitely gonna respond to you, and they're gonna respond to you pretty quickly. So that's really helpful. And people also will make suggestions in terms of things that they're doing, and and sometimes you can learn from some of the mistakes that they made. So I like how everybody's willing to share everything, the good and the bad, because sometimes people just want to tell you the good stuff. They don't want to tell you the bad because they want you to stumble on it, right? Like they don't want to like save you from that. So I really like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say in terms of the group. I mean, it's great. It's really, really great. I feel like you learn a lot more in like a group setting.
Yeah, I
You
believe
know,
so too. That's kind of how I
uh,
structured it that way, but I agree. I do agree with that.
yeah. So, but that I don't have anything really negative to say in terms of that. I really don't.
Okay, well, walk us through your first deal with me. All right, obviously you had
Yeah.
a couple of wholesale deals before that, so you're no stranger in finding deals and talking to people and negotiating
Yeah,
things,
exactly.
you know, but
Exactly.
now you're working with me, and while I'm sure a lot of things were the same, there were probably some differences,
Yeah.
and you have me breathing down your neck as well. So spill the tea. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I had to literally get out of like the whole wholesaling mindset because it's really a different approach.
Hmm.
Because the way I do market research and wholesaling is completely different than the way I'm doing it, with
Well, what do you
the
mean by
way,
that?
well, the way I do market research in terms of wholesaling is um I do look at the sold. I go in there, look, and I look at the solds and look at what's for sale. I'm not even really going in there like how we do it based on your budget,
Hmm.
you know? So I go in there, like I make a list in terms of, okay, what's on the market right now? What's the number that's on the market right now versus what sold in like the past year, right? If what sold in the past year is more, or double, that means that there's a demand versus what's on the market right now. So then I know that that's a good market to go into.
Mhm.
And I don't have to worry about like the budget or anything like that. And I also want to make sure that I also pull like my make sure that there's a decent cash buyers list there also as well. Because it
Mhm.
doesn't make sense because the time you have is it's kind of small in a lot of instances. You want to make sure that when you get that deal on a contract, you can move it, right?
Right.
Because a lot of times these sellers want to close in 30 days or less. So it's a different approach in terms of that.
Well, where are you finding your cash buyers list? Are you getting from like PropStream or
Prop
what?
stream, prop stream.
Got
Yeah,
it.
everything. I pretty much use prop stream for everything
Hmm.
except for like my skip tracing and obviously like my calls. I don't use that for my CRM, but I use that for my cash buyers list for LLCs, my cash buyers list for individuals. Um, for comps, I mean, yeah, it saves me,
Got it.
you know,
Got it.
yeah,
So anyways, let me interrupt. So anyways, you notice that the approach is different because with
yeah,
wholesale, you just find what's available and what all
exactly.
that.
The
When you're
approach is different.
investing, you got, okay, this is how much I have to invest. So I need a place that's going to support that
Yeah,
budget. At least that's the way I teach it.
right,
So anyway,
right.
so you're going through that process, now that you're changing your mindset around that, continue.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a different process, and you also have to be. I feel like learning the whole thing about making offers based on subdivision. I never had to learn that before.
Mhm.
So it makes you much more accountable. You have to really put a lot more time into your market research. You have to make sure that this makes sense. So, so that's pretty much what I did in terms of my first deal. I know that I was working in terms of my budget. I know it's between 2,000 and 3,000, and that's how you teach us.
Mhm.
And so that's what I did. I literally put in there 2,000 to 3,000. Actually, no. So I put in there between 6,000 and 8,000 because I want to make like 20 cents offer and a dollar. So I put in 6,000 and 8,000 for sale. And I just kind of went on Zillow and I would just press each market. And then I would open up a separate Zillow
Mm.
link and just go into that market and kind of look to see, hey, was what I saw, was that 6,000 I saw, is that an anomaly or is this a market that really is where it's selling for between 6,000, 8,000? So I did that, and then I would go look to see, how many reviews the listing has received, how long it's been in the market, and if it has any saves. So yeah, so that's pretty much how I found the market that I went into.
Okay.
Um,
Nice. Nice.
yeah,
And then so you start you dig a little deeper, you find the market, you create a list, you
yeah, I
skip
dig a
trace your
little
list.
deeper. Yep, I did a little deeper. And that example, because my first deal was in Texas, it's non-disclosure, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So what I did is like that, what I found, that specific address that I found, I went ahead and I put it in prop stream. And then I said, I'm just going to focus on the subdivision. And then I went ahead and looked at like the subdivision in terms of how busy it was in terms of that. So, and I said, okay, great. And I went ahead and I pulled a list of the individual subdivisions. And I created, because of my budget was so small, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and deliberately target people that owe back taxes. So then what I did is when I pulled my list, I didn't do like free and clear or anything. I just pulled a general list, and then I literally just went into the county, and I went into the tax records for that county, and I literally looked up each address to see if they had back taxes due. And the leads that had back taxes due, I just highlighted them, and then I just went ahead and deleted all the other Excel sheets, and I kind of went from there. And I knew how much they owe in terms of back HOA, because as well, I knew like in terms of in Zillow, like, okay, like if they owe this $50 HOA, right, but $50 per year, and they've had it for 10 years. So I'm like, okay, so 50 times 10, I know that, and I look to see how many taxes, how much they owe in taxes. So I know my offer is going to be between this much and this much based on how much taxes they do. So I had 3 different tiers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So how long did it take for you to get a deal that you're investing in from that point?
So it took me a month. It took me about a month, and you remember the one that I got, and I think I may have moved a little bit too slow, and I lost that guy. Where, yeah, I think I lost him, but it took me about a month to get my first deal.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Because you had one early on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had one. Yeah, I had one earlier on. Well, the thing is, I had one earlier on, but then he was saying that he wanted to also like JV with me, so it kind of got a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in those situations, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
this is too, I'm out.
Yeah. So I pretty much got those 3. So I got 3 deals off of, that market there. And, and I learned my lesson from that first one. I said, you know what? I just gotta boom, 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 boom. So yeah.
Money loves speed. Okay, wonderful. So now you got the properties. How tough was it to acquire them in your name?
I had them in my LLCs.
I mean, still, in your possession,
Yeah.
How long did it take? Once
No,
he's like, yeah, let's do it, or he or she said, let's do it.
It was 48 hours. So yeah, because I sent a text message out. In my text message, I was saying I'm looking to, hey, I'm interested in purchasing your lot at 123 Main Street. I'm looking to buy in the area between 500 and 800. And I can close in 3 days, and I'll take care of back taxes. Are you interested? So I was living up to that. If I'm saying I can close in 3 days, I really was saying to myself, try to do it in 48 hours.
So proud. So proud.
Yeah, so that's pretty, yeah, so that's, yeah.
Do you think that helped you to get those deals because of how quickly you're able to move?
Yes.
So let's compare that with the wholesaling method. Let's just say those same people were willing to wholesale. Do you think you still would have gotten those deals if you had to do the wholesale thing?
I don't know. I don't know, because I was targeting, because I think that in my text message, when I said I'm taking care of back taxes, and the fact that you can pay up front and take care of back taxes, that is like, yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, no,
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Like, oh, I'm telling you, because with the wholesaling, I don't have to worry about that. I've never put that in my text messages. With the wholesaling, it's just, hey, are you interested in selling? And they're like, how much? And then I give them an offer, and then they're like, yes or no, or they want a little bit higher, and then we're off to the races. But when you say, hey, I can get money, cashier's check to you in 3 days, I think in my taxes, I think I actually even say 72 hours. But anyways, in such a short period of time, and I'll take care of your taxes. I don't mention the HOA because I use that as kind of like talking them down and stuff like that in my taxes. But yeah, so yeah, just fairly quick, fairly quick.
Yeah, I'm
Because
going
I
to go out
think,
on a limb and say because of the speed that it gets you more deals than otherwise. Because sure, anybody can ask for the moon. If like, oh yeah,
mhm,
I'll give you the moon. And
yeah,
then they're like, oh, it's been 30 days, no moon. It's been 60
right,
days, no
right.
moon. It's 90 days, no moon. You know what? You ain't gonna give me this moon. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I'm not giving you the moon. I'm gonna give you a couple rocks, but you won't get those rocks. You'll get them today. Sold. Like, in
Yeah,
my opinion, you get a lot more deals land investing just because, as I said, money loves speed. And even though
right,
it may not be as much money, it's still money that they can use right now. And they don't have to do any work to do it. It's hard to not to turn that down. And
right.
that's why you can get the property for so cheap, because it's like, well, I will give it to you for, I'll give you the money, but you're not getting retail for it. That's the price you pay
Exactly.
for convenience and speed. You're like, you know
Yeah,
what? I'll take it because it's better than nothing. And then here we are. So you
yeah.
got the property quickly. I'm very impressed with how fast that worked. Now, this is the part everybody has trouble with. How long did it take for you to move those properties?
So it took me 3 months,
90 days.
90 days.
It felt
Nine,
longer though, didn't it?
well, compared to wholesaling, it felt longer. It felt, oh my goodness, it felt longer. Oh, 90 days. It felt longer. Um, but I think I could have actually moved it. This is the thing. I know I could have moved it quicker than that because the buyer that I sold it to, I don't know what the hell I did when I pulled that list in PropStream, but when I pulled, because I literally pulled another list a week before I sold it.
Mm,
So the list that I had pulled before had like only 22 buyers. When
mhm.
I re-pulled it again, I don't know, I made a mistake in PropStream. When I re-pulled it again, that buyer's list was like over 100. And he was on that list. I was like, what did I do? I know, I don't even know what I did. So anyways, yeah, it took me 3 months and yeah, it felt longer, but you know, but I also kind of knew that, I know that it's like, it could be between 3 and 5 and stuff, so, but yeah,
I usually
so
say between 30 and 90 days. That's usually my thing.
yeah,
And it's right there on the money. And 90 days seem like a long time, but considering how some wholesalers, that's their whole contract period, and you had the property, and then you have the options to do different things. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. I just can't see why people will wholesale. I get it early on when you have nothing, you got to do something, but it's hard to play the game when you got no skin in the game. But now you get skin in the game, you get options, you get power, right? And in 90 days, it wasn't that long. And now you sold one to that person. Are they buying your other lots as well?
I'm not, they're taking a look at it,
Oh, so
taking
they
a look
bought
at it.
one and they might get the other ones that you own.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing with the wholesaling, okay, so a lot of my deals in wholesaling that I got from this year, I was in markets where they were selling for 45,000.
Mm-hmm.
I was not going to be able to get that money on my own. I
Oh,
had
for
to.
sure, for sure, for sure. I get it. I totally
Yeah,
get it.
I was literally, I was in, there, but Florida, right by the water, right by the canal, where all the houses had like a pool, like right. So, but yeah, so, but I'm excited, that I was able to get those three, not just one deal, three deals,
So
three
quick,
deals.
so quick. So, all right, tell us the numbers. How much did you buy them for? How much are you selling them for? Give us the spread.
Okay, so the one I just sold, right? The one I just sold, so he owed a little bit under 3,000 in
Okay.
HOA fees, a little bit under 3,000 in HOA fees. And that's another thing too. Make sure you have them take a picture of their HOA statement.
Mm.
Don't just take their word for it that they're, that this is what it is.
Yeah,
So
I never take I call the HOA myself.
they won't tell
Oh
you
yeah,
that,
that
remember?
one was different. Yeah, they were a little
Yeah,
different because
yeah,
the privacy thing.
they weren't telling me that. So I had them all do that for the three. So, and then he didn't have any taxes. So I gave him $25.
Almost fainted.
Yeah, this
I
one
got
here was
$25 in my wallet right now.
I gave him $25 and I was like, listen, I know you have a good amount of HOAs due back, so I'll take care of that. I'll take this property off your hand. I'll give you 25, and I can get that to you in a few days, and I'll get it off your hand." And yeah, he was like, Absolutely, thank you." Because he was like, "I don't live in that area anymore. I'm not, you know." So, and I think he wanted to put a camping. He probably put an RV on there. And when he found out that he couldn't put an RV on there, he kind of was like, "Screw it, I'm not paying any more
Right.
dues." So, but anyway, so I was able to sell it for 6,000.
So wait, you put in 25 bucks and you
25
sold it for
bucks.
6,000.
Yeah.
So even if you disregard the actual HOA, so you made $3,000
Yeah.
off of 25 bucks.
25 bucks. Yeah. Yep.
This has to be illegal.
It has to be.
It has to be illegal.
Yeah.
$25 invested, and in 90 days, you turn that into $3,000.
Yeah. And then the other two, I paid 500. And then the third one, I paid 800. So yeah.
I just can't. All right. So basically that one investment of $25 paid for the next 3 investments. And then some. So you're still on top. Even if you never sell those properties, you've still made money just from $25.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's one of the reasons why when I came across your YouTube, I was like, you know what? I was like, this is different. This is different.
Let's go.
You know?
Let's go. Wow. I didn't even know the numbers. I'll just help you go through the deal. I had no idea that.
Yeah, those were, yeah.
All right. That's fantastic. All right. So, all right, let's keep it real with the people.
Right.
I was on your ass a lot. Right. And I always want you to celebrate the small wins. You never want to celebrate the small wins. Right. I'm like, you got a deal. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna sell it. Hey, you got some prospects. I don't know if they're gonna come through. And then you finally sell it and you're like, yay. So how much did I annoy you throughout the whole process?
You were annoying, but I think that you, there were times I'm like, I think you forgot that I've actually gotten deals before here, that I'm actually not a newbie. So and I feel like, oh God, and like, so, but honestly, this is the thing. There was a couple deals in the wholesaling where we didn't close on closing day. The title came back and they were like, we can't close. The title is cloudy. It's, it's not going to be able. So I've learned my lesson that I'm not going to just, it crushed me, because that deal, that if I had gone through, it would have been 15,000, so that really, I was like, okay, so I've learned my lesson, and I was, and it like knocked me off my feet for a week. I was like, I'm not texting, so I'm just gonna been like, I'm just not doing that anymore. I just, until I have that check in my hand, until I get, clarification from title, which I got, that, hey, the deposit is in there. I got an alert from my Chase bank account that the money was in there. I was like, yes, I was celebrating. But yeah, that's just how I am,
That's fair. That's fair. So, all right. But other than that, I was all right. I helped you. Did you feel I helped you do your thing? Because granted, you had some experience before.
Yeah.
Like, was I helpful, or?
No, I mean, that was the whole point. There's no way I would have gotten into rural if it wasn't for me, coming to you. Like, there's no way. I didn't know how to, because the other options that I was seeing, I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Because again, the whole thing with the fact that I paid $25 for it, and I got this money.
Oh no, you're frozen.
Over here, that it was illegal, So for you to teach that, I'm like, if I don't learn anything else, the fact that I can close myself, I'm telling you, I was like, sold. And then, yeah, sold. But but you know what it is? Like I said, another thing too is like, I'm not really into the whole frilly thing. As you can see, I'm like pretty like straightforward. So I like that approach too. I like that approach, like, you know, like this is a number, this, you know, it is what it is and stuff like that. I feel like I learned more, it's quicker, and it just makes, and it fits my personality as well. So, but yeah, no, listen, I'm like, I definitely was celebrating. I definitely was celebrating. You know, when
That's fantastic.
I was definitely celebrating, because I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I was able to do both in 1 year, and I'm just, so yeah, yeah, I'm excited.
You deserve your success. It was fun to work with you. Obviously, we're not done working together, but
Of course not.
now
Yeah.
that I got you to this point, I can say you are a certified land investor, and you killed it. That first deal was fantastic. $25. I mean,
Thank you.
Now let me ask you this. You don't got to name any names. In fact, don't. But I understand you had a friend that was also trying to do the land thing with a different person.
Yeah.
I haven't asked about her. And how are things going with her and that other program?
She actually left that one and teamed up with another rural coach.
Not with me. It's a shame.
Not with you.
I mean, does she not like winning?
No, she just thinks it's a bit pricey. I told her, but listen, I said to her, listen, I know I'm going to get that money back.
I mean, you already started.
I've already started. But again, listen, I can only speak for Sandra. I can't force anybody else. I can't, you know what I mean?
So, yeah, I mean, you can, I mean, you get what you pay for.
When I closed that deal, she was like, you closed it? I was like, ah.
In 90 days. Like, ain't that what I promised?
Yeah, listen. And she's asking me all these questions, and you know, I'm like, listen, but like I say, I'm only responsible for myself. I can only, you know.
Right, so. I get it. I mean, as I said, some people, they shop on price, right?
Yeah.
Other people shop on, I want a result.
Yeah.
And I want to keep moving. You
pay what you get for, you know, so, and yeah, that's all I can say. That's all I can say in terms of that. So, but
she left that other program.
Yeah, she left it. I think she confronted. I think she confronted the lady, and then she actually went on Facebook, and I think she put something on Facebook, and then all these other past students came out of the woodwork and was like, I spend like $20-something this much, 20-something thousand this much, and I never got a deal. That lady's a lie. Like, just, yeah.
Oh my God.
I think she kind of blew it out.
Here you are with your $25 making thousands and thousands of percent ROI. So
yeah. And I don't think that lady was accessible like you are too. That's another thing too, is like, you know, like you're very accessible. Like, I know that, like, I can pretty much, you know, like, ask your question, I'm going to get answered. There's no like, oh, you can't reach me after this time, after that time. There isn't that. Or even if I do ask a question, somebody else in the group is going to be like, you know, like, hey, this is what I did and stuff like that. So I think that for them, most of the stuff was just on Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook sucks.
So, but yeah.
Damn. Well, as you said it, I said it, I'm gonna say it again. You get what you pay for. Some people, they just want to do the thing. They don't really want the success. They just want to say they're doing something. Others like, no, I need a result, and I want it as soon as possible in the cleanest way possible. And I do my best to provide that. That's why I'm accessible. That's why you have me all the time, but that's also why I'm not cheap, right? You know, the same way you can buy a Toyota Corolla. Toyota Corollas are nice cars. And for some people, they do the job, but other people, they want to be in
right. But I kept saying, you're gonna make that money. You're gonna make that.
I don't get it either. I don't get it either.
It's a tax write-off, anyways. You have a business. She's got an LLC like I do, you know. But I, you know, my friend, you know, I love her to death, but she definitely is an overanalyzer too. She's one of those like analysis paralysis. Like, she was like, the whole thing with her, like, so you're gonna take it down, you're gonna put it in your company's name. I'm like, yes. I'm like, shit, like, you gotta take risks. I don't know, you know, but like I said, yeah. So awesome. I don't regret. I don't have any regrets in terms of the path that I took, you know. So And I know she wanted to do bigger deals. I'm like, you can do bigger deals.
Well, I mean, it sounds like she needs more coaching than actual information, which is half the reason why I am the way I am. But, you know, in time, she'll either come to me or
Yeah,
find
but
someone
she's
similar
also
to
not
me.
crazy about the fact that like the fact that you put it on Facebook. I think she's more like she just wants to, like give it to a realtor and not worry about it and stuff. But again, it's
I mean, I'd never say you can't do that, but it's just,
no, listen, at the end of the day, listen, they're gonna do whatever they want to do, what fits their personality, and
true, true. I'm not
yeah,
for
just
everybody. I'm not for everybody.
neither am I.
Right. But we get along, even though you're from Boston. You think I was gonna let you get away with that?
Look at this. You
Did
see,
you
a
did-
Bostonian closed a deal with them. You see that? A Bostonian closed a deal with them.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about Boston or how the Warriors just beat them the other day.
Oh Lord. I know, but guess somebody, yeah, but we're still ahead of you guys, right?
you guys are doing much better than we
we're
are.
doing,
So
we're
I'll
doing,
say
yeah,
that.
we're doing amazing.
Yeah, you
So,
guys are playing well. So that's that. But anyways, I really appreciate this. I appreciate the feedback. I'm looking forward to how well you continue to kill it.
yeah,
Let's see if we can get those other lots sold, so we'll keep working on that.
yeah.
But other than
Definitely.
that, do you have anything you want to say to me or to anybody before we wrap this up?
It works, guys. It works. It really works. You just have to jump in. Don't be afraid to talk to people. You talk to people every single day anyways,
True.
it works. You just have to just trust the system, trust the process, because I know that when we got together you were like, I want you to just focus on what I'm doing, don't worry about all these things. And it's important because sometimes I feel like people really get distracted with the shiny objects.
Yep.
Right, especially on YouTube. The good thing about YouTube, there's a lot of information. The bad thing about YouTube, there's a lot of information. So
Yep.
you just gotta be focused, and this can be done without, I don't have a VA, I work, so this can be done. You don't need to, like, I'm in Savannah and my deals are in Texas. I've closed deals in Florida. I've closed deals in other states. So this can be done. This can be done.
Absolutely. Well, you are a shining beacon to those of us that are still looking to make it and to do what you do. So I'm really appreciative of your time. I'm appreciative of you just being in the group. You add a lot to it. As I said off air, you have a gift on the way, or will be on the way now that I got your address.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to just helping you do well and you helping me do well at the same time. So
right.
But that's it for this one. I appreciate your time. So anybody, if you guys looking for help, mentorship, you guys know what to do. Hit me up. I'll put a link. You can book a time with me. See if you too can be like Sandra. If you're lucky. All right. But yeah, Sandra, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for everything. And I'll see everybody else later.